Hello, good morning. Well, it's Friday morning. Chris Wilder has met the press this morning. Quite a bit to say on quite a few things. There are things that you need to know. I'm going to put it on straight after this, so I'll get straight into it. He talked about Blaster being back in the squad and retraining and training with the squad again. They had a behind the closed doors game with Liverpool in the week. Rob Page brought a young Liverpool side down to Bramall Lane, and he used the game to get some minutes into Blaster, Chong, Hamer. They all played and got some benefits out of that. So that's an important thing. He did say. He says Samari's raised his standards as well. You've got to, obviously, he talked a lot about the Blaster situation, so I'll let you listen to what he had to say on that. He talked about Tom Davies and his injury when he went over to Germany. Trying to get to the bottom of that. It could probably be in the new year before he gets back. They think they found a solution, but we'll wait and see. It's a long job in it with Tom. We know what he's like when he's on it, but he's obviously generally out injured most of the time. So they're trying to get to the bottom of that for him and the club. He talked about contracts for Bamford and Riedewald going forward. They want to keep them both. They're both quite positive to extend a contract for them, so that's ongoing at the moment. They're talking to them two players, as they are with Hamer and Tyrone, who have got 18 months on their contracts left. So they want to tie them down a bit longer, because they don't want to end up running the contracts down and end up going on a free, do they? So that's ongoing as well with Steve Bettis. That's interesting. He talked a lot about Cooper as well. He made no mention of any injuries at all, which is probably keeping it under the radar, whether he's injured or not. And he's not had a lot to say. Not had a lot to do during the past few previous games. He had obviously admitted to making that mistake against Leicester City. He misjudged the cross, which we all knew about that. And so he's still... He's not had much to do, so he's working on with Cooper as well. So he knows what's required. But to be fair, if you look at the stats, he did mention that he's not had a lot to do in the past few 2 or 3 games. So we'll keep an eye on that one for Saturday. He obviously talked very briefly about Stoke and Mark Robbins, and they've recruited well. And it's going to be an interesting game tomorrow. They're a club which have obviously been in the Premiership in the past, and they're stuck in the Premiership and they're trying to get out of it, same as we are. So he's had a lot to say, as Chris Wilder, this morning. He talked about Blaster. He talked about the behind the closed doors games, the Blaster situation. Tom Davies, Bamford, Riedewald, Chong's back in the squad as well. So it's quite an interesting presser he's had this morning. So I'll leave you with that. I'll put it on straight after me now, and you can watch it at your leisure. And I'll look forward to doing a post-match preview of the game against Stoke on Saturday evening. And let's hope it's a great 3 points for the games, and I don't have to come on and have a rant and a moan. But keep the faith, up the blades, and look forward to the game on Saturday.
Yeah, he's getting there, so pretty close. We've got another big week of Championship football ahead, and there's a couple of under-21 games in there as well before the turn of the year, so he'll play his football, so it's just a matter of timing really, but he's ticked every box on his rehab, and delighted that he's back amongst us. He's just even watching him integrate into the group. Talked about it last week. When you get good players coming back into your group, how the standard is lifted. And watching the behind closed doors game, which was a really good one. I was delighted as well. The attitude of players is first class. Sometimes these games fizzle out, but it was a really competitive one. Thanking Rob Page for bringing his young Liverpool team over, so we both got a lot out of it. We got valuable minutes into our players, the likes of Blaster and Gus Hamer and Chong, boys that have not been involved as well. And speaking to Rob afterwards, he was delighted because he knew it'd have a competitive edge and feel. And I said to the players that have not been managed under me, this is how I want the team and the club to look like. You know, whatever we do, we're competitive, whatever it is, pre-season, behind closed doors games, and we get the maximum out of it. And Ollie got the maximum out of it, Gus did, and all the other players, so delighted. So he's in and around it. You know, I know that a lot has been talked about Ollie Arblaster, this, that, and the other, which I get, and I'm his biggest fan. But two boys in there doing really well at the moment as well. Samari's come on and added something to us. He's raised his standards as well, and so he's got a challenge on in terms of getting into the team. Tom Davies on his road to recovery as well. Maybe that isn't something in the next sort of week or two that will happen, but Tom will come back, and he's got to fight his way through those players. But delighted to add another one to our group of talented midfield players. Is
Ollie's injury something that will need to be monitored going forward, or when he's back, will that kind of be the end of it? If that makes
well, usually it is. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about ACL injuries, 25, 30 years ago, career-ending, even longer than that, career-ending injuries. Now you're looking. Alan Shearer had one when he was 21. I'll go back to that one, and ended up scoring 500 odd goals or whatever he did in his record off the back of that. So yeah, of course there's always a care to it, especially soon afterwards. And he'll have to manage his knee, but it's as strong as ever, and just have to be super professional like all the boys have to be in terms of looking after themselves right the way through the careers.
I was going to ask about Davis, because the last time I was here, he was going to Germany, or he was in Germany. So that presumably then was a success. Is there any kind of timescale on and when he might be ready and available again? Not really.
In terms of short to medium, definitely into the new year he'll be available. Yeah, we've had progress on that. The club and Dr. Brian English sought out a top specialist in Germany as well. So just trying to get to the bottom of his issues and his problems. So we might have come to a solution on that, another way of working. So the guys have worked extremely hard, and it's and Tom is the biggest one that hopefully will benefit from the latest news and processing what we're going to go down to get him back to the player that we all know he is.
Speaking of progress, has there been any progress with regard to keeping and tying down Bamford and Riedewald?
Yeah, there has. There's been contact, first of all, from myself to the players. Do you want to? And I believe they're all over coming, and why shouldn't they be? They've been outstanding. Been delighted with the contributions of both of the guys. I personally don't want to lose both of those guys, so it's up to us now to find a common ground with those boys in terms of length and in terms of obviously the details of the contract. Stephen Bettis is working hard. The board have backed it as well. I think they understand the importance of the two boys as well, and the contributions they've already made. I certainly don't want to put all the work that we've put into them and lose these guys in January. But unfortunately, that might be the case if somebody comes in and comes over the top of us and blows us out the water. But we're confident that we can get a deal done with both of the guys, and their immediate and a medium-term future is with us as a football club.
The recent form has suggested that a lot of players have now sort of raised their game. If there's one that maybe isn't quite back to his best yet, is that Cooper? I wonder.
I think he hasn't had a lot to do, though, Andy. Our stats, I think it's been going on for quite a while, this, in terms of our resurgence. And it's difficult for supporters to see this. I could put a slide up regarding our form since Charlton and our form since Watford, and you'll be blown away with it. Third, fourth, fifth, fourth, third. on this and that. Ultimately, the game is decided in both boxes. What we have done is been more clinical in the opposition box and took our chances, and rightly so, in terms of the quality that we had. And I've talked at length about this. You know, is that a belief? Is that just taking an extra touch? Is that taking an extra moment? Is that doubting yourself a little bit because of the results and how things have gone so far in the early part of the season? Are the boys regaining that faith and confidence in their own ability and producing their moments? Tom Cannon, great example. And from the flip side of it, we've just been undone by individual errors. So cutting out those individual errors is key. Always highlighted when the goalkeeper makes a mistake, and the first one, he's just misjudged the cross, and he's took a decision to let it go, and he knows, and he knew straight away that he should have dealt with the situation. He hadn't had anything to do. He didn't have anything to do second half on Saturday afternoon. The whole feel of the game maybe is different to what the actual second half was. We're 3-0 up. In a game against top players. I said afterwards, I might have been having a little bit of a moan up to my players if that had been flipped on its head. Why have you only turned up just after half time? One of the situations was we sort of gifted them an early goal and an easy one, but we did what we had to do, which was get a win. The second one is debatable whether it's him. It's a great strike, great finish from the guy. It's a difficult one for goalkeepers, that one. I always think he's got set for it to go somewhere, and you can see you're right behind it, swerved all over the place. But the first one's an individual error. He hasn't had anything to do for quite a while. Didn't have anything to do at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't have anything to do against Portsmouth. Can't remember him having a lot to do in sort of the other games as well. Didn't really have an unbelievable amount to do against Preston, and those games, that little week that we came off at half time against Coventry. The Derby game, didn't really have a lot to do. The trials and tribulations of being a goalkeeper, I suppose, is what I'm saying, that you get exposed and you get highlighted. If you make that mistake, he didn't make a mistake last season, he's made a couple this year, so he has to deal with that exposure and spotlight by everybody. But he's okay. He's a calm character, and he's our number one, and we're delighted that he's with us and moving forward with us.
It's been a great week. The football continues with Stoke City then this weekend. What's your assessment? What's your assessment of them right now?
Good manager. Recruited really well. Pretty simple, the game, innit?
It can be.
Yeah, those two things. Good, very good club. How difficult it is to win games of football in the Championship, and how difficult it is to get out of the Championship, or get close to getting out of the Championship. Stoke City were one of the first teams when we went up in 2017-18, our first season. I think that was the season that they came down, and not been anywhere near it since. Not being in the top 10, which really, when you look at the size of the club and what they achieved under Tony Pulis and Mark Hughes, and the backing that the Coates family have given the football club, you know, I know how highly regarded they are in football, and the support they've given to the football club and the city in and around it, and the backing. And managers and players have not got it right, but it looks as if Mark's on the way to getting it right. But yet again, you know, they've lost 3 out of the last 4, so they know how difficult it is to win games of football in the Championship. But Mark's an established, experienced, successful manager, and I'm sure that they'll be in and around it right the way through the season, regardless of what's happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And things can quickly change, and they'll be looking at the game on Saturday as an opportunity to get back to winning ways, just as much as we want to keep our form and our belief and our confidence and our winning run going.
So, thank you.
She's good. Morning, Chris.
Morning.
Just on Ollie, I guess with his association with the club and everything at the start of the season, he would have probably strapped on his boots, wouldn't he, have played. But when a player's coming back from an injury like this, how much input do you take from them, because they know their body better than anyone? And I guess a two-pronged question, really. Do you sometimes have to take the emotion out of it from their point of view, to try and get the balance right of
they ain't got an opinion, because he's not a physio, is he?
Yeah.
He's a footballer. Just get on being a footballer, do as you're told, get on with it, run about, do this, do that, have this day off, work this day, be in the gym now, slow yourself down, don't have an opinion. Crack on. He didn't go to university, did he?
Good point.
Didn't go to university.
Yeah.
Didn't go to medical school, wasn't a physio, hasn't had the experience of Dr. Brian English, hasn't had the experience of Matt, who worked at Liverpool, and all the physios, hasn't had the experience of Tom Little and the sports scientists and all our medical team. So get on, be a good pro, and we'll deal with it, and taking the emotion out of it from myself as well. Yeah, we're all delighted to see him. Delighted that he was at Hillsborough on the day. I thought it was a special moment for him as well. He didn't play, but he wanted to be a part of it. And he's a huge player for us. But it's us that directs his journey physically. Now all he has to do is be a good footballer, get on with it, work his way back to full fitness, so he can go and play 90 minutes. And his biggest challenge is getting on the bench and then trying to get in the team.
I bet that hasn't stopped him chewing your ear off, though, has it? I'm not going to uni and everything. I bet he's been chomping at the bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, but it just goes straight over my head.
The best way. Something that Callum touched on Saturday after the game was his sort of summer turnaround. He said he worked a lot on adding sort of goals and contributions to his game, as well as the work.
He would do for the new manager, wouldn't he?
It's funny that, yeah. But I just wondered, what sort of goes into that from your perspective? Is it as much a sort of mental shift as a tactical, technical sort of thing? What do you think goes into that?
No, he was an excellent player, an outstanding player when he was at Coventry. That's the reason that, half the championship, all the top championship teams wanted to take him. Burnley wanted to take him, we wanted to take him. We're always trying to nudge players up on things that they need to do better. Regardless of their age, whether it's 19 or Callum's, who's in sort of that mid bracket, always can improve and always learn. And I'm sure if you ask, you're asking me as a manager, I'm always learning at my age, or trying to improve my skill set. So players should be the same. Practice on the training ground, looking at different ways of playing and improving their game individually, that ultimately improves us as a team. But Callum should, I think we all recognise, has the ability to assist. I mean, he assisted a lot of goals last season, and he has the ability to assist and score. It's a great finish from him. Everybody understands his work rate and his work ethic, but he's paid to be a threat at the top of the pitch and produce big moments, and we're delighted that he is, and I'm sure he's got many more inside him to do that.
Yeah, you talked about Bamford and Gyro with Gids there. You've always been a manager who, short, medium, long term, haven't you? There's some big players who are coming into the last 18 months of their deal soon, isn't there? Gus, Tyrese, I think Andre is one as well. Is that something in the back of your mind as well for sort of?
I've pushed that already. Yeah. I've pushed that button already on both of those players. We're having. We don't really want to lose players to freeze. Unfortunately, sometimes they run it down, and that's difficult. And then you think there has to be a procession plan in terms of where you work off the back of that. But we've already pushed that button with Gus's agent and Ty's agent, and seeing what the feedback and the enthusiasm is back off them. I like to think there will be from the players' point of view, in terms of us being ambitious and trying to win games and improve our league position, and ultimately what happens off the back of that. But they've been outstanding for me. They've not had a good start to the season. I've got to say, I was a little bit disappointed with them, because I think that, regardless of what happens, they're key players, the big characters, the big influencers. But we've got over that, and getting Gus back is huge for us. And you've seen his contribution at the game against Portsmouth, last home game, what he can produce, big moments, what he did last season, and what I'm sure he will do in the remaining games that we've got. And Ty getting back fit, on form, looking a threat, looking a goal threat as well. So yeah, of course, there's always the younger element in terms of tying those boys up, but the senior ones we want to build. We don't, I don't think we need, and don't think we want to, have a mass exodus at the end of every season and having to sort of rebuild the team every year, and hopefully we can get into the situation where we're looking at sort of 3 or 4 a year. Coventry were the ones, they kept all the best players, kept Radone, kept the big centre half, kept the other good players that they've got and added to it. And Gus and Ty want to see good players come through the door.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a byproduct of maybe their early season form, is that they saw some good players come out the door and what happened off the back of that. But hopefully they'll be part of the build, and it won't be such a huge build going forward.
And I guess part of it from a football club point of view, isn't it, as well, that you want to protect your investment as well. But they seem to really found a home here, haven't they? They seem to really.
Yeah, I'm sure you speak to the boys. They enjoy the football. They enjoy what it's all about. The environment, the culture, the all togetherness of the football club, which you can see growing. Obviously, results help, and see that we're a progressive football club. It's been a difficult start to the season, but we're doing our best to reset and move it forward. The popular players with the supporters, and they've got to keep producing those performances that we know they've got inside them.
Cheers, Chris. Go on.
Cheers, Dan.
Morning, Chris.
Hey, morning, Stu.
When you look at Stoke, I mean, it's not that long ago they were playing in Europe. I think there was a time when they had more Champions League finalists in their squad than Liverpool did.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones, but are they an example of when you drop out the Premier League, you've got to get back quickly, because the longer you're out, the harder it becomes?
Yeah, I've had this argument for a long time. Or your wage bill is a strong one. Yeah, we've earned the right to do that. We've signed some good players. We've paid some decent fees for players. Yeah, we've earned the right to do that. We earned the right in 2018-19 by going into the Premier League, by selling Davy Brooks for 12 million and buying John Egan for 3.5 and Ollie Norwood for $1.5 million. So there's teams that have got into the Premier League, Luton, that haven't been serial yo-yo teams. Obviously, it does make it a little bit easier with the parachute payments, but you've earned the right to have those parachute payments by doing something successful in previous years. But I think it just highlights how difficult this division is. You've seen where Luton are at the moment. You've seen where we are at the moment. You've seen where Norwich are at the moment. 3 teams that have been in the Premier League. Yeah. And you've seen Stoke not getting into the top 10. I think there was a quote by one of the managers: "It's been difficult to break the glass ceiling of the top 10 and to get into the Championship." And you're going, really, Stoke City, and the backing that they've had, and how powerful the football club is, and how powerful the owners are. That just shows you how hard it is. QPR, I think, average league position 14th over the last sort of 10 seasons. Ex-Premier League club that spent an absolute fortune on players. The times where they were paying over 100 grand for players in the Premier League. So yeah, it is difficult. Of course, you want to jump back up straight away. But sometimes things happen. Sometimes it doesn't work the way that you always want to work or want it to go. And yeah, of course, it's a difficult task winning games of football in this division, and it's certainly a difficult task getting out of the division. And you've got to do a lot of things right to do that. Fortunately, over the last few years, we've done that. The situation that we've not really got right is staying in the Premier League, but I think that's maybe for another day and another story.
Yeah, because there's a lot of clubs in the Championship who've got that sort of backstory nowadays, and there's only 3 of you can go up in any one year. So, does that make the Championship one of the hardest divisions to sort of think long term in. You know, you've had to bring in a lot of experienced players this season to shore things up. I guess you probably have to manage in a different way, do you, to say when you're at Northampton or other clubs where you may be able to build a bit more long term. Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, I think you're always looking to look after your young players. You're always looking to keep your best players, like Dan just said, in terms of Tyrese and Gus. But you're always at the mercy of others who want to come in and name checking David Brooks there. We went up that season into the Championship for the first time in a long time. He had a really good season, and an agent came knocking and a club came knocking and wages go, quadruple and plus a fee there you can't afford to turn down. And you lose the player. So you have to always have that in mind, that players will go. If they do want to run their contracts, if you're looking to move them on in the last 18 months, of course, and maximise the fee. So there's always got to be sort of a future look into it, and I think we've always tried to do that. But sometimes it's I don't know what's going to happen in January. I don't think there'll be much action in terms of going out the building. I think because of maybe current form and where the players are, I'd like to keep all the players as we talked about and build and get to a situation where at the end of the season we are just adding sort of 2 or 3 and keeping our best players. But at that time comes, if somebody comes in with an offer that we can't refuse, we've got to put that to the board and see where we are from that, because we're not a Man City of a few years ago that we can just chuck money after it, and we have to be sustainable, because we basically don't want things to go the way things have gone down the road. That's the last thing that I ever want to do that, and I've always been consistent with that, understanding I've been sort of at a football club or walked into a football club where there were financial issues and how difficult it is. So that is the last thing that we ever want to happen to us as a football club. So we have to be sustainable, we have to be smart, we have to deal when we have to deal, we have to buy when we have to buy, and we have to try and keep our best players. And that's always going to be a big challenge. And we all want to get in the Premier League, don't we? We've got an ambition. There is, I believe, a higher expectation level than there has ever been at our football club over the last sort of 10, 15, 20 years. I do see us as a top 20, 25 football club, ranked football club in the country. The difficult one is obviously getting into that powerful division and staying in there. But my thought process at the moment is to win games of football, is to put value back onto our players, because that has obviously dropped, and it's something that I've spoke at length with the owners. Yeah, we have to look and see if there's young players out there that we can buy and develop and then go down that road. I understand that, but I've always said the biggest prize is 150 million. Our record sale, Aaron Ramsdale, 25 million. So we've got to, if we, do the maths, we've got to sell 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Aaron Ramsdales. We've got to break our transfer record 6 times to get to 150. So for me, he's always building. During that period, if somebody comes in with an offer you can't afford to refuse, or somebody wants to run the contract down and you think that's smart business, you have to deal. But can we build to get out of the division and balance and add to the books in that way? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And World Cup draw day today, just thinking about Chong in particular. I mean, he probably wouldn't have been expecting to be looking forward to that at the start of the season. I mean, it's a massive incentive for him, isn't it, whoever they draw? Brilliant.
Me and my pals already booked a 10-day break in New York City, so might be seeing Chongi over there. So I think we've just booked our rooms as well before before the prices get absolutely hiked up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that personally, going there, and Chongi is as well. It's an amazing achievement. How small the island is and what they've done. Yeah, the competition has been expanded, and I know how keen he was to play in that final game. Unfortunately, it just came too quick with him. But he's got a fabulous future in the summer going forward, and he'll want to hit the ground running going into that, because it's a great opportunity for players like that to play on the world stage and play against the best players in the world in the greatest tournament in the world. And he'll want to go into that competition in good nick. We're delighted with him coming back. He's definitely a player of quality that adds something to our group. He'll be involved tomorrow as well, so looking forward to working with him. Not worked with him before, but seeing him, and he's one that I potentially would have been interested in the summer. And delighted he's our player, and he'll be delighted to look forward to a great occasion in the summer.
I mean, that's something you can really use to your advantage, isn't it? Because he's not even guaranteed his place in this team at the moment. But
No.
with that to play for, there's no doubt you're going to get absolutely everything out of him for the.
Yeah, it's a great incentive for him as well, and great experience when he does go there as well. I've always said I've been a backer of players going and playing for the countries. I think that adds to their profile, to their experience. You know, City's playing for the under-21s. That's been really good for him as well. He's been part of that group as well. So great incentive for Chongi. Quite rightly what you said as well. He's got to get into our team. You know, we've got good competition out there. Cheo on his way back. Brooksy's playing well at the moment. Chongi's pushing. Cal can play out there. Gus can play out there. So good competition there to get into the team. And it's something that I've talked about yesterday. Talked about momentum. Not a time to take a breather. Not a time to take a backward step. We need to kick on. We've had a great week. We need to go and have another really good week, knowing the difficult challenges ahead of us. Physically, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday night. And we have got genuine competition for places. Everybody's banging on the door. And I said to them, I want this to be the hardest job in the Championship, me picking a side for 4 games and players absolutely knocking on my door and saying, I'm available, I'm playing well, I want to get into the team. And those players that have got the shirt doing exactly the same to hold on to it.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Stu.
Tell me your name.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, Sophie.
I just wanted to ask, because you've got 6 games this month, how important it is to make use of the, just like what you were saying, use of the entire squad within the festive period, especially given the hectic schedule of the next 3 games.
Yeah, I think the game's changed now. You know, I think you have to rotate, and I think the easy thing is just to keep it the same. But physically, the demands of the league are huge. We place a lot of our game on a press and a high intensity press and getting after teams, and for that to happen, you have to be ready for that challenge, and to mix that up and to keep people fresh and to keep people involved. I think that's the key. Not too many changes, but the changes at the right time, especially in a 3-game week.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hugh.
Hi, Hugh.
With the goals beginning to flow in the recent games, is there a selection dilemma up front for you at all?
Well, we've created chances. We've created chances since the Charlton game. I think we're just talking previously on the stats. I think, you know, eyes for corners, eyes for touches in the opposition box, created big chances, and I think top 5 for XGs. But ultimately, it's the final action that, you know, decides outcomes of the game. So we're finding that belief and confidence at the moment, and there's good competition, there's good quality at the top of the pitch as well. And it's important. The bit in the middle, I would say, we need to get right. Both boxes is crucial. 2 clean sheets out of 3, and you know, being clinical at the top of the pitch. But we have got that quality, and hopefully we can continue in the same vein that we've shown. and you know, being clinical at the top of the pitch. But we have got that quality, and hopefully we can continue in the same vein that we've shown